There is a moment in your life where you come to a realization that shakes you awake. Nothing outside of you has ever truly held the power. The outer world is slow to change because it is only a shadow. The substance is within you. And when you move within, when you shift your focus from the problem to the state of already having the solution, the problem begins to dissolve. Not because you struggled with it, not because you changed states. The moment you assume a new reality inwardly, the world must conform. Why? Because the world cannot resist the command of a mind that is loyal to its vision. There is no greater secret. You do not need to hustle. You do not need to beg. You do not need to convince. You only need to become. If you want love, assume you are already deeply loved. If you want wealth, assume you are already wealthy beyond measure. If you want peace, assume you are already at peace, unshaken and free. This is the step that changes everything, not because the world shifts first, but because you shift first. And as you shift, everything around you must obey. This is not superstition, this is law. So I ask you now, not to seek, but to dwell in the state of already having. Live from it. Let your conversations flow from it. Let your feelings arise from it. Let your decisions echo it. And soon the world will catch up to what you've already claimed in silence. Everything begins in the imagination. Your inner world creates your outer world. What you accept as true within becomes the experience you encounter without. This is not poetic sentiment, it is the very structure of reality itself. The world you walk in, the circumstances you face, the relationships you attract, the money you hold, the health you experience, all of it has its roots not in the physical, but in the unseen, in the depths of your inner consciousness. You are always imagining even when you do not realize it. Your inner conversations, the quiet self-talk you carry throughout the day are imaginal acts. The feelings you repeatedly return to, whether joy, fear, doubt, or confidence, are states of being that carve out your tomorrow, and the world, ever faithful, simply reflects that inner condition. It mirrors back to you the assumptions you have clothed yourself in. When you accept something is true inwardly, the outer world begins to mold itself to match it. It must. Reality cannot contradict the dominant state of your consciousness. If you inwardly accept that you are unloved, overlooked, or unworthy, life will bring you experiences that support that belief. Not because the world is cruel, but because the world is obedient. It is echoing back to you the tone you have struck within. Conversely, if you dare to accept within that you are already loved, chosen, abundant, and whole, before any outer proof exists, the world will in time rearrange itself to validate that inner truth. This is why the imagination is sacred. It is not childish or false. It is the birthplace of every event that will ever unfold in your life. The imagination is the divine faculty through which creation happens. It is your workshop of reality. And yet, so many dismiss it. They continue to believe that they must wait for outer evidence to feel differently, when in truth, if they felt differently now, the outer evidence would follow. To imagine is to choose, and every time you choose a thought, you choose a future. Every time you choose to feel lack, you are investing in a future where lack grows. Every time you choose to feel full, whole, and certain, you are investing in a future that cannot help but mirror that fullness. You are not at the mercy of fate, you are the architect. The power was never outside you. It was always in your ability to feel and believe within. The key is this. You do not need physical proof to accept something as true. All you need is the willingness to imagine it so and feel it real. That is the beginning of transformation. When you saturate your mind with a new truth, when you repeatedly return to it in thought and dwell in it as if it were already fact, you begin to shift your inner state. And as your state changes, your world must follow. You have done this already, unknowingly. Every situation you face now, good or bad, is the result of past imaginal activity. You have assumed many things to be true, often unconsciously, and life has faithfully brought them to pass. But now you are being called to do it consciously, intentionally, to choose your inner assumptions with care and reverence, to no longer wait for the world to change, but to change the world by changing yourself. The outer world is slow to respond only because it is the shadow, the cause is always within. And the moment you change your inner conversation, the moment you lift your assumptions to match your desire, a new pattern begins to form. A new future is conceived. And though it may not appear instantly, rest assured, it is already on its way. The seed planted in imagination must bear fruit in the physical. Such is the law. So, choose wisely what you accept as true. Do not base your belief on appearances. Base it on what you desire to see. Live as though it were already true within, and soon the world will bow to your inner command. For imagination is not only the beginning, it is everything. The key step is assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hoping, not wishing, but living from the end as though it is already yours. This step, though simple in expression, holds the entire mystery of creation. It is the dividing line between dreaming of a different life and actually entering into it. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to mentally and emotionally occupy the state you desire, not as something that will happen, but as something that already has. Most people spend their lives hoping for change. They speak of the future as something separate and distant. They say, one day I'll be happy, or I hope things get better. But hoping is not creating. Hoping leaves you in a state of lack, constantly reaffirming the absence of the very thing you want. When you hope, you declare that what you want is not yet here. And as long as you continue to believe that it is not here, it will remain out of reach. The world cannot deliver to you what you have not already accepted within yourself. But to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to break this cycle. It is to step into the end result mentally and emotionally before any evidence has shown up. It is to claim something as yours even while the outer world insists it is not. And that is where the power lies. The world is not moved by your needs. It is not changed by your complaints or your desperation. It responds only to the vibration of your inner state. And when your inner state is one of fulfillment, the world must mirror it. This is not pretending. Pretending still knows it is false. It is not acting for show. It is the inward acceptance, the deep inner knowing that says, it is done. This is the only true faith, the kind that does not beg for proof because it has already received what it asked for in consciousness. When you live from the end, you feel the joy now. You walk as the version of yourself who already has. You speak, decide, and respond not as someone on their way to the goal, but as one who has already arrived. To do this requires discipline. It requires a refusal to be led by appearances. The moment you assume the wish fulfilled, the outer world may look unchanged. It may even present the opposite. But this is only the residue of old beliefs fading away. If you persist in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the world must conform. It cannot do otherwise, because it is under the authority of your inner assumption. What does it feel like to have what you desire? That is the question you must answer. If you desire love, ask yourself, how would I feel if I were deeply loved right now? If you desire wealth, ask, what emotions would I carry if I already had financial freedom? Then carry those emotions within you, not just in meditation, not just for a moment, but throughout your day. Return to the feeling whenever you can. Lie from it, move from it, rest in it. As you do, your inner world changes, and when your inner world changes, the outer must follow. It may come through unexpected paths. It may unfold quietly or dramatically, but unfold it must, for consciousness is the only true reality. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not just a technique. It is alignment with your higher self. It is the way your soul communicates with creation. There is nothing more to wait for. You do not need to earn it, prove yourself, or seek permission. You only need to assume it is done. The moment you do, you shift timelines. You step out of longing and into being. And once you are, the world begins to match your being. This is how all transformation happens. Not through force, but through assumption. So take this key step. Assume the feeling. Live from the end and watch everything else fall into place. Your current reality is only a reflection of past assumptions. Change your assumptions and your future must rearrange itself to match. There is no other way. Life is not reacting to what you consciously want. It is responding to what you have already accepted as true. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are always assuming something, and those assumptions form the foundation of your experience. Look around you. Everything you are living today, the people in your life, the circumstances you face, the conditions you call reality, is the harvest of what you once assumed. You may not remember the moment you accepted a belief as true, but it happened. Maybe you were told you were not good enough and you believed it. Maybe you experienced lack and you assumed it would always be that way. Whatever the case, the assumptions you held planted seeds, and life, without judgment or delay, grew them into form. You see, the world is not trying to punish or reward you. It is simply reflecting. It is a mirror, faithful and neutral. It shows you the contents of your inner state, and the mistake most people make is trying to fix the reflection instead of changing the image in the mirror. They rearrange circumstances, move to new places, start over again and again, hoping for change. But if the assumptions remain the same, the pattern continues. This is why you must go within. If you want to change your life, you must first change your assumptions about who you are and what is possible for you. Not with force, not with anxiety, but with certainty. Quiet, still, deep certainty that you are already the person who has the life you desire. When you do this, you create from the inside out. The beauty is that you do not need to fight the present. You do not need to battle against what is. Your current situation may appear fixed, but it is not permanent. It is fluid, and it is waiting for a new instruction from you. When you change your assumptions, your world receives the message, and it begins subtly or suddenly to reshape itself. What does this look like in practice? Let's say you have assumed for years that relationships are difficult, that you're not chosen, that love is something you chase but never keep. That assumption, repeated and felt, has become your reality. But the moment you decide to no longer accept that as true, when you begin to feel and believe, even quietly, that you are worthy of deep, safe, lasting love, the world begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you no longer live in alignment with the old story. This shift in assumption is powerful because it changes your state of being. You no longer speak the same, carry yourself the same, or react the same way. You are no longer desperate or proving. You simply are, and the world recognizes this change. People respond differently. New opportunities emerge. Life bends to match the new belief you carry. But you must be consistent. The old assumptions may try to reassert themselves through doubt, fear, or past evidence. That is their last breath. Do not revive them. Instead, return to your new assumption. Live in it. Dwell in the end result. Feel it as real. Speak from it. Think from it not as a future event, but as your current state. And in doing so, you teach the subconscious a new truth, one that it will faithfully express. You are not stuck, you are not cursed, you are not limited by anything except the assumptions you refuse to change. And the moment you do, fully, truly, inwardly, the world must rearrange. It always does, for consciousness is the only cause, and assumption is its language. So change what you assume, and you change everything. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the operant power. You do not have to wait for permission. Your belief is the only authority you need. The moment you recognize this, you are free. Free from the illusion that the world is acting upon you, free from the lie that life happens to you rather than through you. The truth is, everything you see, everything you touch, and everything you experience is the outpicturing of your inner state. And the moment you change within, the outer must reflect that change. You were never meant to be at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances are not creators. They are the results of creation. They do not have power of their own. They are shadows cast by your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions. And a shadow cannot move unless the source of light shifts. You are that light. You are here to beg for change. You are here to cause it. Most people live under the false idea that something outside of them must shift before they can feel better, be better, live better. They wait for someone to choose them, approve of them, give them the green light to move forward. But creation does not wait. It follows belief. It moves in response to the one who knows who they are and stands in the authority of that knowing. You need no one's permission. You need only to believe, and believe fully, that you already are the person you wish to be. When you assume that your desire is already yours, you are exercising your creative power. You are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is understanding that your belief is the cause, not the effect. And once you embody this truth, everything begins to conform. Do not look at your present condition and say, I cannot change because this is what is. That is the language of the disempowered. Instead, say to yourself, this is what was, but I have chosen something new. And the moment you choose a new state of being and persist in it, the world around you will begin to shift. It must. Because you are the operant power. Even now, your life is responding to the ideas you hold to be true. If you believe money is hard to come by, life will mirror that. If you believe love is rare, life will reflect that back. But if you believe you are abundant, loved, chosen, and worthy, without needing proof first, then reality bends. This bending may be subtle or it may be swift, but it will happen. The only question is whether you will remain faithful to your chosen state. Your work is to refuse the lie of powerlessness, to stop surrendering to what appears and start declaring what is in your inner world. Your belief is the law. It is the foundation upon which all experience is built. Not partial belief, not belief tainted with doubt, but belief that rests in certainty, even in the absence of evidence. When you carry this kind of belief, doors open, people change, circumstances rearrange, not because they decided to, but because you did. You are not waiting for the world to align, you are causing it to align. And when you know this, you rise. You stop asking for signs. You stop seeking outside validation. You move, speak, and feel from the state of your desire already fulfilled. You recognize that life has no choice but to respond to the script you are now writing in your imagination. You are the operant power, no one else. No condition, no person, no past has greater authority than your present assumption. So assume wisely, assume powerfully, and assume persistently, because your belief is not a wish, it is a command. Sustained inner attention is the secret. What you consistently dwell on becomes the world you walk in. This is not merely poetic, it is the mechanism of creation itself. Your outer life is not happening by chance or luck or divine favoritism. It is the exact reflection of your inner dwelling place. Wherever your mind rests, whatever thoughts you return to again and again, those impressions take root in the subconscious, and the subconscious faithfully expresses them in the world you experience. It is not enough to wish for a better life once in a while. It is not enough to say an affirmation a few times and then return to worry, doubt, and old patterns. Creation does not respond to occasional focus. It responds to sustained attention, repeated feeling, consistent inner conversation. You must live inwardly in the reality of your desire long enough for it to become the only truth your subconscious knows. When you do this, it must appear. Your attention is not a passive thing. It is the most powerful tool you possess. Where you direct it, you give life. Where you withdraw it, you allow dissolution. If you constantly entertain thoughts of lack, limitation, or fear, you are giving them the fuel they need to grow. You may not want those things, but by thinking of them continually, you are consenting to them. The mind does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you persistently feel and focus upon. This is why you must learn to discipline your inner world, not with strain, but with awareness. Begin to notice where your attention goes when you are not directing it. Does it wander to worry? Does it dwell in scenarios that you do not wish to live? If so, gently redirect it. Take it back. Bring it home to the place where your desire is already real. Because imagination is not pretending. It is creation. Sustained attention to your desired state is not about effort. It is about saturation. When you saturate your inner world with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, everything in your outer world starts to reconfigure. People, places, and opportunities shift to match the inner world you have faithfully built. And it is not your job to know how. It is only your role to remain inwardly aligned with the end you have chosen. Let's say you want to experience financial abundance. It is not enough to say, I am abundant, and then check your bank account every hour in fear. That is split attention. That is a divided mind. Instead, sustain your inner attention on what it would feel like to already be free. Walk in that inner freedom. Carry yourself as someone who no longer worries. Speak and think as someone who has arrived. And as you do, the world will adjust, not because of effort, but because of assumption made real through sustained focus. This applies to every area of your life: love, health, purpose. It all begins in the place where you choose to dwell mentally. If you live there long enough, the door will open in your external world, and you will walk right into what you imagine. The great secret is not trying harder. It is remaining faithful longer, holding your inner attention steady when the world tempts you to look away, keeping your gaze fixed inward when outer circumstances contradict your desire. That is faith. That is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. So return again and again to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Make it your dwelling place. Let it become your inner home. And then watch quietly, confidently, as the world conforms to the image you refuse to release. Sustained inner attention is the secret, because what you consistently dwell on does not stay in the mind. It becomes the life you live. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the ability to remain steadfast in your conviction, even when the outer world gives you no reason to believe. This is not blind optimism, nor is it naive wishing. True faith is a conscious choice, a quiet, unwavering decision to believe in the unseen because you know it already exists in the invisible realm. You are not hoping for it. You are loyal to it. You are devoted to it, and in that devotion, creation takes shape. Your senses may scream otherwise. The facts of the world may tell you it's impossible, but faith does not ask for evidence. It provides the evidence. Faith knows something deeper than appearances. It knows that every visible thing was once invisible. Everything that is now seen first lived in someone's unseen world. Therefore, when you choose to remain loyal to your inner conviction, you are aligning with the very law that governs manifestation. The reason most people do not experience what they desire is not because they asked for the wrong thing, but because they abandoned the feeling too soon. They asked, then watched the world, and when it didn't shift immediately, they doubted. They looked at their bank account, their relationship status, their circumstances, and they let the outer world tell them who they were. But faith does not bow to appearances. Faith speaks even when the world is silent. Faith sees when there is nothing visible. Faith knows that the unseen is more real than the seen, because the seen is always changing, but the unseen, once believed in, brings about lasting transformation. When you remain faithful to the unseen, the seen begins to shift in your favor. It must. The world cannot help but reflect the inner state you have fused with. And this is the mystery. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are not looking for signs to confirm what is true. You are causing it to happen by your loyalty to the invisible. It is easy to be loyal when things are going well, but real faith is measured when nothing seems to move, when the phone doesn't ring, when the opportunity hasn't come, when the door appears closed. That is when faith shines. That is when you decide, even though I do not see it yet, I know it is mine. And in that knowing, mountains move silently, circumstances rearrange beneath the surface, people are shifted into place, hearts are cleared. Do not let the outer world shake you. Do not let temporary delays convince you that your desire is denied. It is never denied. It is only waiting for your full alignment. Your faith is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the steady hand that holds the vision when all else trembles. You are not at the mercy of life. Life responds to you. You are the operant power. Decide what you want, live from it within, and let the world catch up. This is not about forcing, chasing, or striving. It is about knowing, feeling, and allowing. Let your sustained attention dwell only where you desire to live. Let your faith be firm. Let your imagination lead. Everything is already yours in the unseen. All that's required is that you claim it inwardly and refuse to be moved. That is how everything changes. By taking this one key step. Thank you for listening, and may you walk forward not with effort but with assurance, knowing the power is within you.
There is a truth I hold, a precious understanding I wish I had known when I was your age. This knowledge, like a hidden gem, could have saved me from countless detours and quiet doubts. It is not in a map or a book, but in the mastery of your own mind. What I share with you now is simple, but it holds the keys to the world. Imagine that every interaction, every event, and every person you encounter is a mirror, showing you a piece of yourself. Most people look outside for answers, searching the world for solutions to their problems or reasons for their joys and sufferings. But the secret is that life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. You hold the power to shape it, for life is merely reflecting the depths of your inner belief. Consider your beliefs as the foundation of your experience. Every thought you consistently hold, every feeling you nurture, imprints itself upon your subconscious mind. This inner belief system shapes your perception and actions, and it is this system that life reflects back to you. If you believe in scarcity, life will present situations that seem to confirm it. If you believe in abundance, the world opens up to reveal its wealth. The key is that these experiences do not create your belief, rather, your belief creates these experiences. This understanding brings immense freedom, for it means that you are not bound by circumstances. Circumstances are effects, not causes. If you hold firm beliefs about your limitations, you will see those limitations play out in your reality. But when you begin to reshape your beliefs to reflect the life you wish to live, the world around you will shift to meet these new beliefs. The process may not always be instant, but it is inevitable. To test this, take a desire you hold close to your heart. It may be a desire for love, success, peace, or abundance. Instead of viewing it as something distant or outside yourself, imagine it as part of who you are right now. In every quiet moment, feel as though this desire is already a fact within you. Let the sense of fulfillment dwell within, even if it is only for a few seconds at first. In doing so, you are planting seeds in the garden of your mind, seeds that, with patience, will grow into the reality you seek. Many may dismiss this idea, clinging to the belief that life is beyond their control. But look at their lives, and you will see this very belief manifested in their experiences. They live in a world that feels random or unkind, because their inner belief accepts it as such. It takes courage and responsibility to embrace the idea that life reflects you, for it means that no one else can be blamed. But this responsibility is also your greatest power. When you change the way you see yourself and the world has no choice but to reflect that change. In every moment, you are creating your experience, consciously or unconsciously. The outer world is the grand echo of your inner reality, the invisible made visible. So cultivate within you the beliefs that resonate with the life you desire. Believe you are worthy, believe in abundance, believe in your own capacity for love and happiness. Nurture these beliefs and watch as the outer world conforms. Life's response may come in ways unexpected, but it will always honor the depths of your inner belief. Desire, often misunderstood, is far more than a simple yearning or passing whim. It is the spark that ignites the creation of our reality. Every desire you feel is a whisper from within, pointing toward the potential life holds for you. Far from being something to suppress or disregard, desire is the seed of manifestation, the starting point from which your reality can shift and transform. Desire arises as a feeling, a vision, a pull towards something we sense would enhance our lives. We are conditioned, however, to see desire as a fleeting or superficial urge, or even to resist it altogether. Yet, if we observe closely, we find that our deepest desires come from an inner place of knowing, urging us toward a more expansive version of ourselves. It's as though our desires are nudging us to grow, to explore, and to bring forth new aspects of ourselves into the world. When we embrace a desire, we are opening ourselves to a reality that already exists in potential. To desire something is to touch upon a reality that is not yet seen, but is entirely possible. This longing creates a bridge between the unseen and the seen. However, this potential can only grow into reality if we cultivate it with belief, imagination, and persistence. Just as a seed planted in the ground needs water, sunlight, and time, our desires need attention and nourishment to come to life. But the true key lies in understanding that desire itself is the creative impulse of life, and our task is to feel as though the fulfillment of that desire is already ours. Too often, we chase our desires from a place of lack, hoping they will fulfill something missing in us. But desire is not something to pursue from a feeling of deficiency. Instead, it is something to embody and assume as already true. When you hold a desire, instead of thinking, "I want this," begin to feel as if it is already yours. Shift your focus from yearning to fulfillment. This shift is the water and sunlight for the seed of desire to grow. One common barrier people face is doubt, feeling that their desires are too lofty, too distant, or unrealistic. But this doubt arises from judging desire based on the current visible reality, which is merely a reflection of past beliefs. Trust that your desire exists for a reason, and that it has the potential to reshape your outer experience. Your desire is the soul's way of pointing you toward what is possible, what is waiting to unfold. Furthermore, desire asks that you believe in the unseen with unwavering faith. It requires patience, as the seed may grow in its own time and in its own way. Just as we don't dig up a planted seed every day to see if it's growing, so should we refrain from doubting or overanalyzing our desires. Instead, we must trust in the process, knowing that our inner work, our faith, our vision, and our feeling is the nourishment it needs to sprout. Desire, then, is a sacred call to step into a new experience, to believe in an unseen reality with such conviction that it becomes the seen. When you feel a desire, recognize it as life speaking through you, encouraging you to expand and to create. Hold it in your mind, feel it as real, and allow it to unfold in its own time. Through this you bring forth into the world what was once only a silent seed within your soul. To act as if something is already true is to embrace the essence of belief and imagination in creating the life you desire. This principle is not simply a matter of pretending or faking it. It is about embodying a state of being that aligns with the reality you seek. When you act as if your goal is already achieved, you generate the emotional and mental frequency of that fulfilled state, drawing your vision from the realm of imagination into the world of form. Most people wait for their circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel the emotions of success, love, or peace. They believe they must first see the evidence in the outer world to feel fulfilled or joyful. However, this way of thinking keeps us perpetually in a state of waiting, tied to the notion that our happiness depends on the external. The truth, however, is that the outer world is only a mirror, reflecting the inner state we hold. By acting as if our desired reality is already present, we align ourselves with the feelings, thoughts, and actions of that reality, creating an inner shift that the outer world cannot help but reflect. Imagine that your desire is for financial prosperity. Instead of focusing on the absence of wealth or worrying about how it might come, begin to feel and act as though you already possess it. This doesn't mean reckless spending, it means carrying the quiet confidence, the gratitude, and the joy that financial freedom would bring. Visualize yourself in situations where your financial state allows you to give freely, live comfortably, or pursue passions without restraint. Feel that abundance as your current reality, even in simple ways like appreciating the resources you already have. These inner changes cultivate a vibration of wealth, which begins to resonate with experiences, opportunities, and actions aligned with prosperity. Acting as if requires consistency. It's easy to slip back into old patterns of lack or doubt, especially when physical evidence has not yet caught up with your vision. But by consistently living from the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you reinforce the inner state that shapes your reality. This process is not one of force or strain, rather, it is a quiet but powerful inner conviction. Each day you choose to live as though what you want is here, not because you are trying to convince anyone else, but because you are shifting your belief about what is possible for you. Acting as if is an expression of faith, a knowing that what you hold within will manifest in its perfect time. It's about cultivating the feelings and behaviors that align with your goals, not out of desperation, but out of the belief that what you desire is already part of you. By holding this inner reality, you become the cause, and your life becomes the effect. Detaching from outside approval is one of the most liberating steps one can take in creating a truly fulfilled life. For many, the opinions of others serve as a mirror, shaping their actions, decisions, and even self-worth. This dependency on external validation can limit growth and distort one's sense of self, leading to choices made from a place of fear or neediness rather than authenticity. When we seek approval, we hand over the reins of our lives to others, relying on their perspectives to define our value. True freedom, however, comes when we learn to validate ourselves from within, making decisions that reflect our own desires, principles, and beliefs. The need for outside approval stems from a natural desire to belong, to be accepted, and to feel appreciated. These are basic human needs, yet when they overshadow our inner knowing, they create a life that is reactive rather than proactive. Constantly seeking approval can make us feel like we're always performing for an audience, fearing that one misstep or disagreement might cost us the acceptance we crave. This can lead to self-censorship, limiting our potential and keeping us in a cycle of pleasing others. To detach from this cycle is to reclaim your autonomy, to realize that you are not defined by others' opinions or judgments. Detaching from outside approval does not mean ignoring feedback or becoming indifferent to others. Instead, it is about understanding that other people's opinions are reflections of their own beliefs, experiences, and perceptions, not necessarily truths about who we are. When we internalize this truth, we free ourselves from the need to shape our lives around the judgments of others. This freedom allows us to act from a place of confidence, knowing that our worth is inherent, not conditional. We become anchored in our own values, and our actions reflect our inner compass, not the shifting opinions of others. Practicing detachment also means becoming comfortable with the idea that not everyone will understand or support your journey, and that's okay. Each person views the world through their own lens, shaped by their experiences and beliefs. When we release the need for everyone's approval, we stop fearing disapproval. Instead, we find the strength to walk our path with integrity, open to connections that resonate with our true selves and releasing those that don't. With time, detaching from outside approval brings a profound sense of inner peace. Decisions become simpler, because they no longer require constant analysis of how others might react. This freedom nurtures authenticity, creativity, and resilience, allowing you to step fully into who you are. You begin to appreciate yourself without needing others to do it for you, and in this way you live a life that is genuine and true to your own spirit. The path becomes uniquely yours, not crafted by others' expectations, but shaped by your own desires, passions, and beliefs. Mastering the art of silence is a powerful yet often overlooked skill in personal growth and manifestation. Silence is not merely the absence of speech, it is the presence of focus, restraint, and self-awareness. In a world that encourages constant sharing, the ability to be silent and deliberate about what we reveal allows us to cultivate inner strength and protect the sacredness of our goals. Silence serves as a shield, enabling us to nurture our intentions away from external influences, opinions, or doubts that might otherwise disrupt or weaken our focus. When we share our goals and aspirations prematurely, we expose them to the judgments, skepticism, and biases of others. Well-meaning people may offer advice, opinions, or criticisms, which, while often rooted in their own fears or limitations, can create doubt or discourage us. These reactions can cloud our vision, making us second-guess our path. By choosing silence, we maintain control over our energy and protect our dreams from being diluted by outside voices. The early stages of any pursuit are fragile. Silence acts as a protective cocoon, allowing our intentions to mature and gain strength before they face the world. Silence is also a way to conserve and channel energy. When we refrain from discussing every detail of our plans, we preserve our mental and emotional resources, focusing them on action rather than explanation. Talking about our ambitions too frequently can create a false sense of accomplishment, giving us the illusion of progress without any real steps being taken. By keeping silent, we stay rooted in the present moment, directing our energy toward tangible efforts rather than dispersing it through words. This focus keeps us aligned with our goals, reminding us that true growth is often quiet and subtle, building over time. Silence allows us to stay true to our inner guidance. The process of manifesting a vision requires us to listen to our intuition and be in tune with our inner self. When we share our plans openly, we open ourselves up to others' expectations, which may not align with our authentic desires. These expectations can create pressure to conform, to alter our goals to please others, or to prove ourselves. By practicing silence, we give ourselves permission to follow our inner compass, free from the weight of outside opinions. Silence becomes a form of self-respect, a way to honor the uniqueness of our journey without the need for external validation. Mastering silence also deepens our sense of self-control. In a society that values immediate responses and transparency, choosing to remain silent requires discipline and patience. This discipline strengthens our resolve, teaching us to be deliberate in our actions and thoughtful in our words. When we speak less about our goals, we develop resilience, relying on ourselves rather than external encouragement. Over time, this self-reliance builds an inner fortitude that is less susceptible to distraction or discouragement. There is a profound wisdom in silence. It teaches us that not everything needs to be shared or validated by others. In silence, we connect with our inner world, drawing strength from within. We learn to trust ourselves deeply, understanding that our vision does not need to be explained or justified. Silence fosters a sacred space within, where ideas can grow untainted and desires can take root in their purest form. In this quiet space, we find clarity and conviction, knowing that when the time comes to act or speak, we will do so from a place of true alignment. The art of silence is about self-possession. It is about recognizing that our dreams are precious and that not every part of our journey needs an audience. By keeping silent, we give ourselves the freedom to cultivate our intentions, protected from the distractions of the external world. Silence, then, is not just the absence of noise, it is the foundation upon which a fulfilled and intentional life is built. Persistence is the quiet force behind every achievement, the unseen yet unyielding strength that bridges the gap between desire and realization. Many people set goals, nurture dreams, or entertain aspirations, but only those who persist in their pursuit see those ambitions come to life. Persistence is not merely about repeating an action or holding a vision, it is about resilience in the face of setbacks, unwavering faith in your ability to succeed, and the willingness to continue despite challenges. When you embrace the power of persistence, you align yourself with the energy of creation itself, allowing your dedication to turn possibility into reality. The journey to success is rarely smooth. Obstacles, delays, and moments of doubt are almost guaranteed. It's easy to lose motivation when results don't arrive quickly, or when unexpected challenges appear. Persistence, however, is the antidote to these obstacles. It is the commitment to keep going, to find ways around, over, or through the challenges. This quality transforms setbacks from roadblocks into stepping stones. Each time you choose persistence over defeat, you strengthen your resolve, building resilience that will support you not only in achieving this goal, but in facing future endeavors as well. One of the greatest powers of persistence is its ability to reshape our inner beliefs. With each act of persistence, we affirm to ourselves that we are capable, resourceful, and determined. This continuous affirmation gradually rewires our self-image, aligning it with success and fulfillment. We become more confident, more resilient, and more adept at handling challenges. Persistence is thus a form of self-development, as each step forward, even in the face of resistance, redefines what we believe we are capable of achieving. Persistence also sharpens our focus. When we commit to a goal and persist despite challenges, we are forced to clarify what truly matters to us. This clarity helps eliminate distractions and deepens our dedication, as we understand the reasons behind our commitment. We become less swayed by temporary doubts or fleeting opinions, anchoring ourselves to a vision that is important to us. This focus amplifies our effectiveness, as we no longer expend energy on distractions or excuses, but channel our attention entirely toward our desired outcome. Persistence teaches patience. The path to accomplishment is often longer than anticipated, and persistence requires us to keep going even when immediate results are unseen. It asks us to trust in the process, to believe in the unseen progress taking place beneath the surface. This patience allows us to cultivate an inner calm, a quiet knowing that as long as we are committed to our path, the desired results will eventually come. Through persistence, we learn that time is an ally, not an enemy, and that genuine achievement is worth the wait. The power of persistence extends beyond the personal. It impacts everyone around us. When we persist, we inspire others, demonstrating what is possible through dedication and effort. Our persistence shows those around us that obstacles can be overcome, that resilience and hard work lead to progress. It creates a ripple effect, encouraging others to pursue their dreams with the same determination. By embodying persistence, we become examples of tenacity and possibility, reminding others that their dreams too are within reach. Persistence is an act of self-belief. To persist in any endeavor is to affirm your worthiness of the success you seek. It's about more than achieving a single goal. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable of reaching for and attaining what you desire. Through persistence, you build a foundation of strength, self-trust, and resilience, knowing that no matter the challenges you face, you possess the power to rise above them. Embracing the power of persistence transforms not only your outcomes, but your entire way of approaching life, empowering you to create a reality aligned with your highest aspirations. In conclusion, the journey to achieving our dreams and living a fulfilling life is not a straight path, but a series of steps that require inner strength, resilience, and most importantly, persistence. When we embrace persistence, we step into our true power, transforming obstacles into opportunities and doubts into faith. Each act of dedication affirms our worthiness, strengthens our resolve, and propels us forward, no matter the circumstances. By committing fully to our vision, we unlock the potential within us to create, inspire, and achieve beyond what we once thought possible. Thank you for your time, and may you continue forward with persistence and confidence, knowing that your dedication will bring you closer to the life you truly desire. When you look around at the world, it's easy to believe that life happens to you, that you are but a witness to events beyond your control. But what if I told you that this world is simply a reflection of what you habitually say to yourself? Yes, in the privacy of your own thoughts, in the solitude of your own mind, you are shaping the life you experience every day. In the quiet moments of solitude, when the world fades away, there is a conversation happening within each of us, a silent dialogue that shapes our reality in ways we often overlook. This inner dialogue, the constant exchange of thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions we hold about ourselves and the world, is not just a background noise, it is the creative force that molds our experiences and determines our destiny. Imagine for a moment that every word you speak to yourself, whether in frustration, hope, or doubt, plants a seed in the fertile ground of your subconscious. Over time, these seeds take root, and the life you experience becomes a reflection of what has been nurtured within. Thoughts are not mere fleeting impulses, they are powerful instructions to your mind and spirit, guiding your actions, reactions, and ultimately the shape of your life. When we talk to ourselves with intention, we tap into a profound creative power. Most of us believe that change requires external action, but true transformation begins within. The stories you tell yourself of who you are, what you are capable of, and what the world holds for you are far more potent than any outward effort. Words like "I am" are powerful, for they define you in the present and project into the future. Saying "I am strong" or "I am worthy" may seem like simple affirmations, yet these words, repeated often, alter the way you perceive yourself. They create a ripple effect, shifting your actions, decisions, and even your energy, drawing experiences and people into your life that align with this belief. The beauty of this power lies in its simplicity. We can change the course of our lives by consciously choosing our thoughts. When we begin to listen closely to our inner voice and challenge any negative or limiting dialogue, we take control of our creative power. Instead of saying, "I could never achieve that," try telling yourself, "I am capable of anything I set my mind to with consistency." This new narrative reshapes not only your beliefs but also your actions, opening up possibilities that were once beyond reach. This practice of inner dialogue is the ultimate act of self-care and empowerment. It requires awareness and dedication, a willingness to choose words that uplift rather than words that limit. The act of speaking to oneself with love, encouragement, and positivity is not a superficial exercise. It is the foundation of a life built on self-worth and possibility. The world around us is but a mirror, reflecting the world within. Change the way you talk to yourself, and you will witness a transformation in every area of your life. The power lies within, waiting to be unlocked, word by word, thought by thought. It is often seen as a mere escape, a child's plaything, or a daydreamer's indulgence. But in truth, imagination is one of the most powerful tools we possess, a bridge between what is seen and what can be. It is the spark that ignites transformation, allowing us to see beyond the limitations of our present circumstances and envision a life beyond what seems possible. Through imagination, we don't simply fantasize, we create blueprints for future realities, setting in motion the changes we desire. When we imagine, we are not confined to the logical or the realistic. Instead, we tap into the world of infinite potential, where every desire can be realized and every limitation dissolved. This process begins by mentally experiencing a desired reality with full sensory engagement, imagining not just what it looks like, but what it feels, sounds, and even smells like. The mind cannot differentiate between a vividly imagined event and a real one. Thus, by embodying a future state in our imagination, we condition our mind to accept this vision as our truth. This act of imaginative living plants seeds in the subconscious, programming it to work in alignment with the images we hold. Just as a gardener carefully cultivates a plot, nourishing the seeds to bring forth life, our imagination nurtures and guides us toward our goals. The repeated, focused act of seeing oneself in a desired state, whether it be of health, prosperity, love, or success, creates a momentum that draws us toward that state. Imagination becomes especially powerful when paired with emotion, for emotion acts as a magnet, infusing the image with a vibrational energy that resonates beyond thought alone. When we imagine ourselves in a place of joy, satisfaction, or accomplishment, These feelings amplify the image, drawing it closer to our physical experience. The law of attraction responds not to empty wishes but to deeply felt desires, and imagination is the vehicle through which we access these depths of feeling. Many of the world's most accomplished individuals, from artists to scientists, visionaries to entrepreneurs, have tapped into this secret of imaginative creation. They did not passively hope for change, but actively engaged in it through the power of mental imagery. Nikola Tesla, for example, would first build his inventions in his mind with such precision that he could test, adjust, and perfect them mentally before ever building a prototype. In a similar way, our imaginations allow us to live out our desires, experience them fully, and become the person who naturally attracts such a life. When practiced consistently, imaginative visualization reshapes our beliefs and reprograms our behaviors. By imagining a reality that surpasses current limitations, we expand what we believe to be possible. This mental expansion encourages us to take steps in our daily lives that reflect this new reality. We become bolder, more confident, and open to opportunities that align with our vision. Through imagination, we gain the ability to transcend circumstances and transform our lives. The mind will always move toward what it vividly and repeatedly envisions. If we can see it, if we can experience it within, we hold the key to bringing it into our outer world. In this way, imagination is not a fleeting indulgence, but the truest form of power, the wellspring from which transformation flows. In the flow of daily life, thoughts can seem to come and go without much impact, as though they are simply byproducts of the mind. But every thought carries weight, every thought holds energy, and each one leaves an imprint on our inner and outer worlds. When we begin to understand this, the practice of choosing thoughts with intentionality becomes not only transformative but essential. Our thoughts are not mere background noise, they are the architects of our reality, determining how we perceive ourselves, the world, and the circumstances we attract. To choose thoughts intentionally is to move from a place of passive thinking to one of active, purposeful creation. Thoughts arise from many places: past experiences, beliefs, fears, or unconscious conditioning. Most people allow these thoughts to dictate their lives without examination, reacting to them as if they hold an unchangeable truth. But when we bring awareness to our thinking, we realize that we are not at the mercy of our thoughts. We are, in fact, their creators and therefore have the power to change them. Thoughts intentionally involves being conscious of the language we use internally. Words like "I can't," "I'm not enough," or "it's impossible" subtly limit our potential, planting seeds of self-doubt and restriction. Instead, replacing these phrases with empowering alternatives: "I am capable," "I am deserving," "it is possible," nurtures a mindset that encourages growth and self-acceptance. These shifts may seem minor, but they accumulate over time, creating a mindset resilient to fear and doubt. One of the most effective ways to cultivate intentional thinking is through the practice of mindfulness. By observing our thoughts without judgment, we start to recognize patterns and identify those that do not serve us. This self-awareness allows us to gently redirect negative or limiting thoughts toward those that align with our goals and values. With practice, intentional thinking becomes second nature, enabling us to select thoughts that uplift rather than restrict us. Thoughts, when chosen with purpose, become powerful affirmations that guide us toward our aspirations. If one seeks love, thinking in terms of worthiness and openness invites love into their life. If abundance is the aim, thoughts of gratitude and prosperity set the tone for wealth and opportunity. Every intentional thought is a step toward embodying the qualities and conditions we wish to experience, bringing these closer to our reality. Using thoughts with intentionality also means becoming aware of the emotional charge they carry. Each thought generates an emotional response, whether subtle or intense. Negative, limiting thoughts tend to evoke feelings of anxiety, discouragement, or lack, while positive, empowering thoughts inspire feelings of confidence, hope, and fulfillment. By choosing thoughts that evoke positive emotions, we cultivate an inner atmosphere conducive to happiness and success, drawing experiences that mirror these elevated emotions. The desired state is a powerful practice rooted in the principle that we create our reality from within. When we assume the state of our wish fulfilled, we mentally and emotionally inhabit the version of ourselves who already has, and already embodies what we desire. This practice involves more than visualizing. It requires adopting the feelings, beliefs, and mindset of the person we wish to become, thereby aligning ourselves with that reality so fully that it must eventually manifest in our outer world. To assume the desired state means to live in the feeling of your wish already being realized, regardless of present circumstances. It is, in essence, a mental shift from wanting to knowing. Wanting suggests lack, an acknowledgement of absence, while knowing implies that the desire is already part of you. When we consistently occupy this state, even if just in imagination, we are broadcasting an inner reality that the world reflects back to us. By becoming internally aligned with our desires, we draw circumstances, opportunities, and events that correspond with our assumption. This practice begins in the mind, but it extends into every aspect of our daily lives. For instance, if one desires a successful career, assuming the desired state involves thinking, speaking, and behaving as someone who is already successful. This person might feel confident, assured, and capable in every task they undertake, regardless of their current situation. They approach opportunities with the certainty of success and carry themselves with a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. Over time, this habitual mindset becomes self-reinforcing. Actions taken from this place of confidence naturally lead to results that confirm the initial assumption. Assuming the desired state requires a dedicated shift in thought and emotion. At first, it may feel like mere make-believe, but with practice, it becomes more natural and begins to affect our subconscious beliefs. The subconscious mind operates as a neutral creator, responding to our dominant thoughts and feelings without discerning between what is real and what is imagined. By feeding it with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we reprogram our inner mind, allowing it to influence our behaviors, attract the right opportunities, and move us toward our goals almost effortlessly. Embracing this practice also means cultivating resilience, for the external world may not immediately reflect the inner assumption. In these moments, persistence in the feeling state is crucial. Instead of reacting to temporary circumstances, we return to the feeling of the fulfilled desire, trusting that reality will catch up with our inner world. The practice of assuming the desired state is about embodying faith, not in the religious sense, but in the sense of an unwavering conviction that our inner reality will, in time, shape our outer experience. In the depths of our being, there exists a silent presence, a listener who observes our every thought, every word, and every inner conversation. This unseen listener within is more than a passive observer. It is the bridge between our internal world and the life we live. Every word we speak to ourselves, every belief we hold, and every feeling we dwell upon is absorbed by this part of us and reflected back into our reality. The listener within is a neutral force, one that does not judge, question, or analyze what we tell it. It simply accepts and brings to life whatever we consistently communicate to it. The unseen listener can be thought of as the subconscious mind, the part of us that operates beneath our awareness, shaping our behaviors, decisions, and perceptions. Though unseen, it holds tremendous power, for it is the source from which our habits, our identity, and ultimately our reality emerge. It does not differentiate between positive and negative, right and wrong. It only knows repetition and feeling. What we persistently impress upon it becomes our truth, and so, without our conscious awareness, it orchestrates circumstances that align with these impressions. When we recognize the presence of this listener, we gain a powerful understanding of how deeply our inner world affects our external experience. If we speak to ourselves with words of doubt, insecurity, or lack, the listener within hears these as commands, setting in motion events, behaviors, and even relationships that reflect this internal dialogue. Conversely, when we speak to ourselves with confidence, faith, and abundance, the listener responds in kind, bringing forth circumstances that mirror this inner strength. In this way, the unseen listener does not control us, but it manifests whatever we impress upon it, leaving us with the responsibility of choosing our thoughts with care. This relationship with the inner listener offers profound potential for transformation. By consciously directing our thoughts and words, we can reshape our subconscious beliefs and, in turn, our lived experiences. For example, if someone desires greater success, rather than focusing on obstacles or self-doubt, they would do well to speak inwardly as though they are already successful. Words of affirmation like "I am capable, I am worthy of success, and opportunities flow to me easily" act as seeds planted in the subconscious. The listener takes these words to heart, so to speak, and begins to organize our inner and outer worlds to match these beliefs. It's essential to note that this unseen listener is always active, constantly absorbing whatever thoughts we give it. Even casual, offhand comments about our limitations or frustrations are picked up and recorded. This is why mindfulness of our inner dialogue is so crucial. The more we repeat certain ideas and feelings, the more we embed them into the core of our being, turning them into beliefs and expectations that the listener then reflects outwardly. Over time, as we become conscious of the listener within, we find that we are no longer at the mercy of old patterns, doubts, or fears. We realize that we can choose the quality and direction of our inner dialogue, shaping it to align with our highest desires. By consistently feeding the listener words of love, gratitude, and assurance, we gradually transform not only how we see ourselves but how the world responds to us. This unseen listener becomes our ally, faithfully mirroring back the life we consciously design from within, giving us a quiet yet profound power over the path we walk and the reality we experience. Affirmative self-talk is the practice of consciously choosing words and thoughts that align with our highest aspirations and repeating them until they become embedded in our subconscious mind. This form of self-talk goes beyond fleeting affirmations. It is a deliberate, ongoing dialogue that shapes our identity, perceptions, and ultimately the life we experience. By consistently affirming positive beliefs about ourselves, we replace doubt with confidence, lack with abundance, and fear with courage. When we engage in persistent, affirmative self-talk, we are essentially reprogramming the subconscious, which does not distinguish between imagined and actual experiences. It simply absorbs and responds to whatever it's fed through repetition and emotion. This means that by persistently affirming our desired qualities and circumstances, we begin to embody them, regardless of our current situation. If, for instance, we wish to cultivate greater self-confidence, we might repeatedly affirm, "I am confident, capable, and strong." At first, these words may feel foreign or even untrue, especially if past experiences have fostered self-doubt. Yet, with persistence, this new narrative starts to replace old, limiting beliefs, creating a solid foundation of self-assurance. Affirmative self-talk isn't about ignoring challenges or denying difficulties. It's about choosing to focus on a desired outcome instead of lingering on obstacles. When faced with setbacks, one might affirm, "I am resilient and will find a way," rather than dwelling on feelings of failure or inadequacy. This shift in focus reframes challenges as opportunities for growth, building mental resilience and encouraging a solution-oriented mindset. Over time, this affirmative dialogue not only alters how we respond to adversity, but also shapes the trajectory of our lives by aligning our actions with our highest potential. The persistence in affirmative self-talk is crucial. The mind naturally defaults to its habitual patterns, often shaped by past experiences, societal expectations, or limiting beliefs. To override these patterns, we must engage in daily, consistent repetition of positive affirmations. This is where the power of persistence reveals itself. Each time we consciously affirm a positive thought, we are strengthening neural pathways associated with that belief. With repetition, these thoughts become automatic, forming a new baseline of self-perception that empowers us to achieve our goals. Are most effective when they're infused with genuine feeling. It's not enough to simply repeat words mechanically. We must feel the truth behind each statement as though it were already a reality. For instance, affirming "I am successful," while embodying the feelings of accomplishment and pride, sends a clear signal to the subconscious. This emotional resonance accelerates the manifestation of our desires, as the subconscious mind is particularly responsive to feelings. With each affirmation spoken with conviction, we close the gap between where we are and where we want to be. This practice of affirmative self-talk ultimately leads to a life in alignment with our highest aspirations. As we persistently tell ourselves we are capable, worthy, or abundant, we begin to attract experiences that reflect these beliefs. Our thoughts become our reality, and by choosing affirmative self-talk, we wield the power to shape a life that reflects our deepest desires and highest self. This shift is transformative, reminding us that we are not victims of circumstance, but creators of our experience, capable of turning dreams into reality through the persistent, uplifting power of our own inner voice. In conclusion, our inner dialogue holds the power to shape the very fabric of our lives. By embracing persistent, affirmative self-talk, we reprogram our subconscious mind, aligning our beliefs and actions with our highest potential. When we choose thoughts that uplift, words that empower, and feelings that resonate with our desires, we create a life that mirrors our inner vision. Remember, it is not the world outside that dictates who we are or what we can achieve, but the consistent narrative we tell ourselves within. Thank you for embracing this journey of self-transformation, for believing in the power of your own voice, and for choosing to create a life that honors your worth and potential.
There is no struggle to become the best. You do not chase greatness, you assume it. You do not plead with the world to recognize your worth. You declare it within, and the world bows to your certainty. Most people believe they must fight their way to success. Yet all true power comes from a still mind that has already accepted its victory. To become the best, you must follow rules that most will never understand. Assume the feeling of already being the greatest version of yourself. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are in consciousness. If you feel inferior, the world confirms it. If you walk as a champion, life has no choice but to reflect it. Second, speak only in alignment with your vision. Every word you utter is a seed planted in the soil of reality. Never declare weakness, lack, or uncertainty. If you must speak, speak as one who already holds the prize. Third, do not seek validation from others. The moment you require permission to be great, you have already lost. Stand firm in your assumption and let the world adjust itself to your belief. Fourth, detach from circumstances. The outer world is only the echo of past states of mind. If you see failure, understand that it is not final. It is simply a reflection of old thoughts. Persist in your new assumption and the shadow must change. Fifth, remain silent about your progress. When you speak of your desires as unfinished, you reinforce the idea that they are out of reach. Keep your visions sacred, nurture them in silence, and let results speak for themselves. Never waver. The greatest mistake people make is shifting between doubt and belief. If you have assumed the state of greatness, hold it, remain faithful to it, and soon the world will prove you right. You do not need effort to become the best, you need certainty. Follow these rules, and soon you will find that the best version of yourself was never something to achieve, but something you were meant to remember. Your life is nothing more than a reflection of what you believe to be true about yourself. Every experience, every person you meet, every opportunity that comes your way is a direct manifestation of the thoughts you hold consistently in your mind. If you believe yourself to be limited, the world will only show you obstacles. If you believe yourself to be powerful, the world will shape itself around that belief. This is the simple yet profound truth that governs all things. Imagination creates reality. Most people live their lives reacting to what they see, never realizing that what they see is simply the result of past thoughts. They wake up every day looking at their surroundings and believe that what is in front of them is all there is. They fail to grasp that their outer world is only an echo, a delayed reflection of the thoughts and assumptions they have entertained over time. The truth is, reality does not exist independent of your consciousness. The circumstances you find yourself in today were shaped by the beliefs you held yesterday. And if you want to change your future, you must first change the assumptions you hold in the present moment. There is no force in the universe more powerful than your imagination. What you imagine, you become. The key to transformation is assuming the feeling of already being the best. You do not wait for proof. You do not wait for the world to confirm it. You declare it as true within yourself, and the world must conform. This is the greatest secret of all success. It is not about effort, struggle, or competition. It is about identity. If you see yourself as someone who must work tirelessly to earn your place, you will always find yourself struggling. But if you assume yourself to be already at the top, if you feel the power of that truth as if it were already fact, the world will shift to reflect that assumption. The mistake most people make is believing that imagination is separate from reality. They think of it as a place to escape, rather than the source from which all things are born. But imagination is not just a tool. It is the very fabric of existence. Everything that has ever been created first existed in someone's mind. The greatest empires, the most astonishing inventions, the most legendary figures in history, each one of them first imagined themselves as great, before the world acknowledged it. They lived in that assumption long before anyone else could see it. When you assume yourself to be the best, you do not wait for the world to tell you that you are. You act from that state now. You walk, speak, and carry yourself as though it is already done. And the world, being nothing more than a mirror, has no choice but to reflect that back to you. This is why those who are truly successful do not appear desperate. They do not chase, they do not beg, they do not seek validation. They know who they are, and because they know, the world aligns accordingly. Your imagination is the creator of your reality, whether you realize it or not. If you consistently imagine yourself as struggling, unworthy, or incapable, then that is what your world will confirm. But the moment you shift, the moment you dare to assume a new state and persist in it, everything must change. It does not matter what your past was. It does not matter what anyone else says. The only thing that matters is the belief you hold now. And if you assume the state of being the best, if you persist in that assumption as if it were already true, you will watch your life transform before your eyes. There is nothing outside of you that is more powerful than what is within you. Your imagination is the script writer of your destiny. Do not waste another moment doubting or waiting for permission. Assume the feeling of already being the best, and reality will bow to your conviction. There is no need to struggle to become great, for greatness is not something you chase, it is something you assume. Most people live their lives striving, hoping, and wishing for a future that always seems just out of reach. They measure their progress by external conditions, believing that once they achieve a certain goal, then they will finally feel successful, confident, or worthy. But this is a flawed approach. The truth is, you do not become great by effort. You become great by assumption. You must live from the end, seeing yourself as already having arrived, already possessing all that you seek. When you do this, the world has no choice but to conform. Every event in your life is a reflection of the assumptions you hold about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who is still trying, still working towards success, then that is the reality that will persist. The feeling of being almost there will never go away because you have assumed a state of incompleteness. But when you dare to assume that you are already where you wish to be, everything begins to shift. You no longer act from a place of lack, of wanting, or of needing. Instead, you move with certainty, confidence, and the quiet assurance of one who knows they have already arrived. Living from the end means embodying the state of your fulfilled desire in the present moment. It is not about waiting for conditions to change before you feel successful. It is about feeling successful now, even when the outer world has yet to catch up. Most people believe that their feelings must follow their circumstances, but in reality, it is the other way around. Your circumstances follow your feelings. When you assume the feeling of already being great, of already possessing what you desire, your world begins to shift to reflect that assumption. The mistake many make is thinking that they must first see evidence before they believe. But belief does not come from evidence, evidence comes from belief. Look at those who have truly achieved greatness. They did not wait for the world to recognize them before they saw themselves as worthy. They assumed their greatness first and the world simply followed. They spoke, walked, and carried themselves as though they had already won, long before anyone else saw it. That is the power of assumption. If you want to transform your life, stop trying to become and start assuming that you already are. You do not need permission. You do not need external proof. All you need is the conviction that what you desire is already yours. Once you assume this state and persist in it, the world will shape itself around your belief. People will begin to treat you differently. Opportunities will present themselves effortlessly. Things that once seemed impossible will become natural and expected. The secret to all success lies in this simple truth. You must act as if it is already done. You must move through the world not as one who is hoping for change, but as one who knows the change has already occurred. You must feel it so deeply that the outer world has no choice but to align with your assumption. This is not about pretending or wishful thinking. It is about stepping into a new reality by assuming its truth. If you continue to chase greatness, it will always remain ahead of you. But if you assume that you are already great, then your actions, your thoughts, and your entire being will naturally align with that truth. The world is nothing more than a reflection of your state of consciousness. Change your assumption and you change everything. Live from the end and watch as the world adjusts to your certainty. There is immense power in silence. The world teaches us to announce our plans, to seek validation, to explain ourselves to others, but this is a mistake. When you constantly speak of what you are doing, of what you hope to achieve, you dissipate your energy. You invite unnecessary opinions, doubts, and resistance into something that is still in the process of becoming. True power does not need to prove itself. It moves in silence, allowing results to speak louder than words. Most people feel the need to share their ambitions with others, thinking that external support will strengthen their resolve. But more often than not, speaking of your plans only exposes them to doubt and skepticism. When you tell others what you are working toward, you risk absorbing their limitations, their fears, and their disbelief. Their words may seem harmless, but they plant seeds of uncertainty in your mind, and if you are not careful, those seeds will take root, weakening your conviction and delaying your manifestation. The wisest approach is to keep your vision sacred. Let it grow in the quiet depths of your mind, untouched by the opinions of those who do not see what you see. Speak less of what you are doing and more of what you already are in your mind. This is the key to true transformation. Instead of saying, "I am trying to become successful," say within yourself, "I am successful." Instead of telling others about your struggles, affirm to yourself that the victory is already won. The world does not respond to effort. It responds to assumption. When you hold the belief that your success is already a fact, you no longer feel the need to explain, justify, or seek approval. You simply are, and the world follows. There is a reason the most powerful individuals are often the most reserved. They do not waste words. They do not seek validation. They know who they are, and because they know, they do not need to convince anyone else. This is a lesson few ever learn. Most people speak too soon, exposing their dreams before they are fully formed. They allow external voices to shake their faith, and in doing so, they delay their own progress. But those who understand the power of silence move differently. They do not announce their next move. They do not explain themselves. They work in the shadows, allowing their success to reveal itself in due time. Your vision is your own. It does not need to be understood by others. In fact, the more you keep it to yourself, the stronger it becomes. When you hold a vision in silence, you allow it to take deep root within you, undisturbed by external noise. You nurture it with belief, with inner conviction, until it hardens into reality. This is the way of true power. Those who waste energy talking about what they will do rarely achieve it. But those who remain silent, who move with quiet certainty, always seem to accomplish the impossible. If you truly believe in your vision, you do not need to declare it. You do not need to explain it to anyone. You simply become it. Keep your dreams protected, away from doubters, away from those who cannot see what you see. Let your actions, your results, and your very presence speak for themselves. There is no greater power than a mind that knows its own truth and remains unmoved by the noise of the world. Speak less, assume more, and watch as reality bends to your silent, unwavering conviction. Your current reality is nothing more than a reflection of your past thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. It is not a fixed truth, nor is it an indicator of what is possible for you. The mistake most people make is allowing what they see in the present moment to define who they are and what they believe they can achieve. But this is an illusion. If you want to change your life, you must first detach from your circumstances and refuse to let them dictate your self-image. Most people wake up each day and immediately react to what is in front of them. They look at their financial situation, their relationships, their job, and they assume that these things define them. If they see struggle, they believe they are struggling. If they see lack, they believe they are lacking. But what they fail to realize is that what they see today is simply the result of past thoughts. Their current reality is just an echo of an old state of mind. And because they continue to accept it as truth, they keep recreating the same experiences over and over again. If you want to step into a new reality, you must stop reacting to what is in front of you and start assuming the truth of what you desire. Your self-image should not be shaped by your current conditions. It should be shaped by your inner vision of who you choose to be. This means that even if your bank account shows little money, you do not identify as someone who is broke. Even if you are alone, you do not identify as someone who is unloved. Even if your career is not where you want it to be, you do not see yourself as someone who is stuck. Instead, you assume the identity of the person you wish to become. You detach from what your senses are telling you and trust in the unseen reality that is forming beneath the surface. Detachment does not mean ignoring your circumstances or pretending they do not exist. It means understanding that they are temporary, that they have no real power over you unless you allow them to. It means choosing to remain unaffected by what is in front of you because you know it is subject to change. The outer world is always shifting, always adjusting to reflect your state of mind. The moment you shift internally, the world must follow. But if you continue to let your present conditions define you, you will never break free from them. Look at those who have achieved great things. They did not let their beginnings determine their endings. They did not allow their temporary struggles to shape their identity. Instead, they saw themselves as successful before anyone else did. They detached from their circumstances and assumed the feeling of already being where they wanted to be. And because they did this, their reality shifted to match their assumption. This is the secret to all transformation. You must live from the truth of your inner vision, not from the evidence of your current reality. You must trust that your thoughts are planting the seeds of your future, even if you do not yet see the results. Do not be discouraged by what appears to be. Instead, remind yourself that what you see is merely a reflection of old thinking. It is not your final destination. It is not who you are. Detach from the circumstances that do not align with your vision. Hold firm in your belief of what is possible. See yourself as already having what you desire, and refuse to waver in that assumption. When you do this, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect your new state. Reality is fluid, not fixed. And when you detach from what is and focus only on what you desire, you will watch as everything shifts in your favor. The key to transforming your life lies in persistence. It is not enough to merely wish for change, to briefly imagine a new reality, or to affirm something a few times and hope it appears. True manifestation requires unwavering faith, an inner certainty so strong that no external circumstance can shake it. You must persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact, until the world has no choice but to conform to your belief. Many people give up too soon. They plant the seed of a new idea but fail to nurture it. They start imagining their desired outcome but allow doubt to creep in when they do not see immediate results. They look to the outside world for confirmation, and when they see no change, they waver. But this is precisely where most fail, because they do not understand that the unseen reality is already in motion. What you hold in your mind consistently must materialize, but only if you refuse to let go of it before it fully manifests. Your assumption is like a seed buried in the soil. At first you see nothing. There is no sign of growth, no visible proof that anything is happening. But beneath the surface, the roots are forming, the energy is building, and the process is underway. If you were to dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing, you would disrupt its progress. This is what happens when you allow doubt to take hold. The moment you question whether your assumption is working, you weaken its foundation. The only way to ensure that it hardens into fact is to persist, without needing reassurance from the outside world. Persistence means maintaining your assumption in the face of opposition. It means refusing to be swayed by circumstances that seem contradictory to your desire. If you wish to be wealthy, you do not allow a temporary lack of money to define you. If you seek love, you do not let moments of loneliness convince you that you are unloved. If you desire success, you do not let failure shake your belief in your inevitable triumph. No matter what appears before you, you hold firm to your inner conviction, knowing that the world is simply catching up to your assumption. The truth is, everything you now experience was once just a thought. Everything you have, everything you are, and everything you struggle with was at one point accepted by you, whether consciously or unconsciously. Your present reality is simply the hardened result of past thinking. And just as you created your current circumstances, you have the power to create new ones. But to do so, you must persist. You must hold on to the vision of what you desire until it becomes so real within you that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Think of the great figures throughout history, those who overcame impossible odds, who defied expectations, who achieved what others believed was unattainable. They did not succeed because circumstances favored them. They succeeded because they refused to let go of their vision. They persisted, despite failure, despite resistance, despite every reason to give up. They held on to their belief until it hardened into fact. This is the power you hold. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your ability to persist in your assumption. Do not allow fleeting doubts to steal your vision. Do not waver when things seem unchanged. The moment you decide that your assumption is real, it begins to take shape. And if you hold that belief with unwavering faith, it must become your reality. Persist until it hardens into fact. Refuse to accept anything less than the fulfillment of your desire. And when the world finally conforms to your assumption, you will understand that it was never the world that had to change. It was always you. Your inner conversations are the blueprint of your reality. Every moment of every day, you are engaged in an internal dialogue, whether you realize it or not. You are always talking to yourself, reacting, interpreting, and assigning meaning to the events around you. But few people understand the true power of these inner conversations. They assume their thoughts are random, insignificant, or merely reflections of the world they see. In truth, the opposite is happening. The world they see is a reflection of the thoughts they hold. If you wish to change your life, you must first change how you speak to yourself. Most people allow their inner dialogue to be dictated by their circumstances. When they encounter failure, they reinforce it with thoughts like, "I can't do this," or "things never work out for me." When they feel unappreciated, they think, "No one values me," or "I am always overlooked." These thoughts may seem harmless, but they are not. They are instructions given to the subconscious mind, which then shapes external reality to match them. Every assumption you hold internally is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness, and in time it will bear fruit. This is why you must be selective with your inner conversations. If you constantly affirm limitation, struggle, and failure within, your outer world will conform to those beliefs. But if you choose to speak to yourself as though you are already at the top, as though you have already achieved all that you desire, the world must adjust to reflect that inner assumption. You must assume the role of the person you wish to become, not just in your actions, but in your thoughts. Speak to yourself with confidence, assurance, and certainty, as if your success is already a fact. This does not mean simply repeating affirmations mechanically. It means truly embodying the state of mind that belongs to the person you seek to be. If you desire wealth, do not entertain thoughts of lack. If you desire love, do not hold inner conversations of rejection and loneliness. If you desire success, do not dwell on fears of failure. Train your mind to think from the perspective of already having what you want. Let every inner dialogue reflect that reality. Observe how you speak to yourself throughout the day. When you make a mistake, do you criticize yourself or do you respond with understanding and encouragement? When challenges arise, do you see them as obstacles or do you affirm that everything is working in your favor? When you think of your future, do you feel anxiety or do you confidently declare that you are on the right path? These inner conversations are shaping your destiny. What you accept within will manifest without. The great mistake people make is believing that they must first see change in the external world before they can change their inner dialogue. But this is backwards. The world is only responding to what you habitually assume to be true. If you want to shift your reality, you must first shift the way you speak to yourself. Assume success, and success will follow. Assume confidence, and confidence will become your nature. Assume abundance, and you will begin to see abundance everywhere. Your words carry power, not just the words you speak aloud, but the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. Do not allow negative assumptions to take root in your mind. Be disciplined in your inner conversations. Speak to yourself as someone who is already victorious, already respected, already in possession of all they desire. And when you do, you will find that the world cannot help but reflect that back to you. The journey to becoming the best version of yourself is not found in effort alone, but in the mastery of your inner world. Your imagination creates your reality, so you must see yourself as already being the person you wish to become. Live from the end, assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, and let the world adjust to your conviction. Guard your vision in silence, keeping it sacred from doubters. Detach from circumstances, knowing that what you see is only a reflection of past thoughts, not your ultimate potential. Persist with unwavering faith until your assumption hardens into fact. And above all, be selective with your inner conversations. Speak to yourself as though your success is already a reality, and the world will mirror it back to you. Your life is shaped by the thoughts you hold most consistently. Choose them wisely. Walk with confidence, knowing that what you assume to be true within must eventually manifest in your external world. Believe in your greatness, persist in your vision, and you will see it unfold before your very eyes. Thank you.